everyone, we're going to find the maximum and minimum values for f of x equals x minus 3 plus the square root of 9 minus x squared. Now looking at this, we're going to have to find the maximum and minimum values. We have an issue with this square root function. So this domain is restricted because we know that inside this radical sign, when you have the square root, it has to be greater than or equal to 0. So we have to have 9 minus x squared has to be greater than or equal to 0. To make this a little easier, I don't like this negative. I'm just going to negate this. That would give us x squared minus 9 is less than or equal to 0, mainly because it's easier to factor. That means that we have x minus 3 times x plus 3 has to be less than or equal to 0. That means your values are going to be x equals 3 or x equals negative 3. So we're going to look at that for our interval that we need to be. Our interval needs to be restricted from negative 3 to 3. These are your endpoints because of this radical sign. So now let's go ahead and differentiate our function f prime of x, and this can be written here as 9 minus x squared to the power of 1/2. So when we do the derivative of x is 1, derivative of 3 is just 0. So now we just have to differentiate this. So this is going to be, using the chain rule, 1/2 times 9 minus x squared to the power negative 1/2. Then you also have to differentiate this inner function, which is negative 2x. All right, so let's simplify this. This is going to equal 1. I'm going to move all of this in the denominator. So that's going to be plus, put this in the numerator, negative 2x divided by 2 times the square root of 9 minus x squared. Now what happens is these twos cancel, and now I can rewrite this as, let's see, this is going to equal 1 minus x divided by square root of 9 minus x squared. Sometimes it's easier if, let's just get our common denominator here. If I get the common denominator, so I want to put it here, so I have to multiply the numerator and denominator by that. We could write this as square root of 9 minus x squared minus x divided by square root of 9 minus x squared. It just makes it a little easier. Now, to find our horizontal tangents, to find all our extreme values, we set this to equal to 0. Therefore, if I cross multiply, the denominator goes away. So I'm just setting the numerator equal to 0. So we're going to have x, or I'll just write this out, square root of 9 minus x squared minus x has to be 0. So we want our f prime of x to equal 0. So we have square root of 9 minus x squared equals x. And also note that this has to be square root of 9 minus x squared has to be greater than or equal to 0. So keep this in mind. So let's go ahead and solve for this. We have x equals square root of 9 minus x squared. That has to be greater than or equal to 0. So if you square both the sides here, you're going to get x squared equals 9 minus x squared. That's going to give you 2x squared equals 9. Solving for x, you can have x equals plus or minus 3 divided by square root of 2. So I just divided by 2 and took the square root. However, notice we have to disregard x equals negative 3 divided by square root of 2 because of it has to be greater than or equal to 0. So we only have one solution here, and that's x equals 3 divided by square root of 2. Now let's find our minimum and maximum values. First we had our negative 3 and 3, the endpoints for our domain. So we're going to do f of negative 3. We're going to do f of 3. And we're also going to do f of 3 divided by square root of 2. So f of negative 3. Let's see what we get with that. This is going to be negative 6 plus this part here is just going to be 0, so you get negative 6. For 3, we're going to get 0 plus 0. So that's just going to equal 0. And then for this one, we're going to get 3 divided by square root of 2 minus 3 plus square root of 9 minus 9 divided by 2. All right, this is going to equal 3 divided by square root of 2 minus 3 plus 3 divided by square root of 2, which equals, if you simplify these two, you're going to get 3 square root of 2 minus 3. All right, because you have 2 of these. All right, and just rationalize the denominator. So here are the values we're looking at. Negative 6, 0, and this one. So your maximum value is this one, because that's the biggest number. So let's write this as your maximum value is 3 square root of 2 minus 3, and that's at x equals 3 divided by square root of 2. Your minimum value is your smallest number, which is negative 6. So you write minimum value is negative 6, and that is at x equals negative 3. This will be your final answer. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.